Hey there, Earthlings. My name is Wolfe, and today we're going to be discussing my explant journey. Okay, let's jump right into it and get to the most commonly asked question I get asked first and foremost, which is, why did you get them removed? Well, there are a multitude of reasons, but luckily it had nothing to do with my actual health or how I was necessarily feeling health-wise. As you know, a lot of people that get them removed, it's usually they're thinking it's a health issue or it's a health issue or a rupture or whatnot. My implants did not rupture. I wasn't necessarily having any health issues that I knew of that stemmed from the implants. It was more of like a cosmetic reason. I personally just did not want them inside of me anymore. I did not care for the appearance of them. I felt like they were pretty large for my frame, even though a lot of other people in my life before I got them removed were telling me, oh, they're not that big. I've seen way bigger. Like, they're not that big for your frame. I personally felt and knew they were way too big for my frame. And they also, like, even though they were 400 cc's, felt huge on my chest and body. They were also very uncomfortable to sleep in or on. So just a multitude of reasons, but mostly I just did not want them anymore. People also don't discuss that they change in appearance over time. And let me get deeper into what I mean by that. So I had them for a good number of years, from the time I was 19 years old. And I didn't, when they're new and they're fresh, they have a different look to them, appearance to them, than when they've been in your body for a while. But tissue moves, the way biology works, as time passes, things will shift. Gravity moves things. And no one discusses how over time your body starts to kind of push them down. So that was one thing for me where I was like, okay, a lot of people want them, they call it the fluff and drop. A lot of people want them to fluff and drop, but then they will continue to drop. And if you're okay with that, that's fine. But it's not like you get them done and then they're just sitting high forever. I also did not like how my clothes were fitting, and it just became not worth it to have them anymore, because then I felt like I was becoming more insecure with them than without them. So my frame is a little bit, I wouldn't say I'm like super skinny, but I'm smaller framed, and then I had these implants on me. So when I would try to wear my shirts that fit like my back and the rest of my body, but then wouldn't fit my chest, I was like not only agitated, but like I started to feel like just not secure in myself. Like, why can't I wear the tops I want to wear? Why can't I wear the tops that are supposed to fit me? Like, what's going on? And then it's like, if I have to size up to fit the implants, I mean, the clothes would end up being too big or baggy. Graphic tees felt and looked, in my opinion, horrible on me. And it's mostly just tops. Obviously, it's a top thing, but I just did not. I no longer liked how my tops were fitting, amongst all the other reasons, appearance-wise, why I did not like them there anymore. So there's the appearance reason. I just really wanted to start embracing my natural self, and I really couldn't push, health and working out in the gym, changing my diet, cutting out alcohol, and all the things I was pushing while sitting there and I have like something in my body that is not supposed to be there. Now, I don't judge anyone else who has them, and I don't, whatever you feel like doing and you want to do, you do them. Me personally, I did not feel right doing all those things, and then I'm keeping foreign objects in my chest. So I got to a point where I was just like, I think this is the time to take them out. I think this is the time to move on past that chapter in my life I want to experience Sydney again. Okay, let's get into the next question I commonly get asked is, how did I go about choosing my doctor? Well, finding a doctor for explanting is almost just as difficult, if not more difficult, than finding a doctor for implanting. Essentially because implanting is more common than explanting. So there's only a few, like a handful of reputable doctors that are known for explanting, that like you can see their work and trust, and they've done it so many times. I'm sure most plastic surgeons have explanted in their lifetime, but finding the ones that they advertise it and you can see for sure that they know what they are doing and they have experience with it, it was like a little bit of a challenge. Not to mention that the price of explanting is almost always astronomically more expensive than the price of implanting. So if you're within a certain budget, that's gonna make your hunt even harder. But I will give you a few tips on what helped me find the doctor that I used and liked based on my personal needs. Everyone's gonna have different needs when it comes to their surgery, and you're gonna choose the doctor who meets those needs. I want to say I was on a particular budget to get mine done, and I got 3 different types of consultations before I picked mine, which is a good average number for amount of consultations you're getting before you're like, deciding, oh, this is the one. And most of the stuff that was swaying me ended up being like pricing for a lot of these procedures, like down payment and just the price of the procedure in general. Like, I'll be honest, I'm not going to pay upwards of 20 to 30 grand for an explant. That's the price of a car, so I'm not doing that. But I literally went into Google and typed in affordable explant near me, and based on the reviews in my area and things that people were saying in those Google reviews is how my doctor popped up. And his down payment for his consultation was affordable. The price I was given was affordable. It was within my personal budget. And then I was able to see his work to see that he knew what he was doing. So I can see, okay, like I see someone in my age range getting the same thing done. I'm seeing the results. He's been a plastic surgeon this many years. Like, he knows what he's doing. And then also, I think the biggest thing is when you're going to a consultation, you should be, in my opinion, you should be meeting with your doctor. I'm not really fond of consultations where I'm not meeting with the doctor at all, or first time I'm seeing you, like the doctor's nowhere to be found. I'm sorry, but now I'm not like interested. This is awkward. So I was able to see him for my consultation first time, and the tech and the reps, everybody, the nurses. Very explanatory, very detailed oriented, a lot of questions being asked as to why I want to make this move. I just felt seen and loved and safe. So I feel like those 3 terms can describe what you may be looking for when you're looking for a place to get your, explant. And my doctor does implants. Like, he does all kinds of plastic surgery, but he didn't make me feel like something was wrong with me because I wanted to get them removed or taken out. He wasn't offended. He wasn't blown away. Like, he was like, I do these all the time, and this is what you're gonna do to heal right, and you're gonna be fine. I felt comfortable, and that's what helped. All right, the next question I get asked is, how are they healing, and is there any sagging to be worried about? As far as like the healing, it was not bad at all. I had to have drains, so that was like the first 2 weeks of my post-op situation. They were a little annoying, and for me personally, they hurt coming out very bad. So, but everyone's different. Most people I hear say they don't hurt at all when they get taken out. Mine burn. but I'm sensitive because getting my implants in and taken out was very excruciating. So my chest muscle is probably just sensitive. But the drains were probably the most inconvenient, annoying part. You have to empty them, you have to keep track and measure and write it down, and it's just it made me feel a little gross. So that was like the most inconvenient part. Once I hit the 3-week mark, I was cleared to go back to the gym for like lower body, light cardio only, no upper body. It wasn't until like week 6 I was cleared for upper body, and then I went snowboarding in Wisconsin week 6. So I mean, that was a little soon, but I felt fine. I am fine. Everything is fine. So healing was like, my healing experience was pretty great. I've been back in the gym doing upper body since week 6. I'm now officially 2.5 months post-op, and I feel great, but I can still tell that there is healing being done. And I believe you're healing for like at least another, I'll be healing up until the 6 to 12 month mark. You're not done healing until like a full year after your procedure. So you're gonna keep healing, but you're not gonna keep feeling pain, if that makes sense. Like, I don't feel any pain, but there are like, I kind of feel like my chest cavity like shrinking up, if that makes sense, reattaching, healing up. So everything is moving swimmingly. If you go to a doctor that knows what they're doing, it's going to move that way. Now, I'm not gonna describe how they look in detail, but as far as any potential sagging or stretching of the skin goes, I mean, I think it all just depends on a multitude of factors, such as age, the length you've had them in, your lifestyle, and all of those things in correlation with each other. I don't have any children, and from what I understand, if you breastfed or have had children, you may have different results from someone who hasn't had children or breastfed. And if you had your implants in for only like 5 years, you're gonna have different results than someone who's had them in for 25 years because the skin had more time to stretch. Again, I'm not a doctor, this is just what I'm told, and this is just what, from other people's experiences, what I've learned in the forums that I am in. I will say that me personally, I am having a good healing experience, and I just, I was told to drink protein shakes, and I take collagen supplements amongst other things, but again, I'm not suggesting you guys do any of that. Those are just the things that have helped me with healing and working with my body. You're not allowed to take supplements for like a month, like 2 weeks prior to your surgery and then 2 weeks after, but I got back on all my supplements after that 2-week period after my surgery because I was cleared to. And for me personally, that may have helped my healing, in my opinion, but everyone's different. Getting back active once I was cleared to do that as well, I think helped with my healing as well. The more I go back to the gym and am active, doing a lot, I feel like the better I'm seeing my healing results come along. And also, it's been some time now. It's been, like I said, it's been 2.5 months. So they're going to start to change every month. I will probably see better results in another 3 months. You never know. But to speak on stretching and sagging, your doctor is gonna know best based on their view, like what they're seeing when they see you for your consultation, to be able to tell you, hey, you may need a lift. Oh, you're gonna struggle with some sagging. Oh, well, you're gonna tell them your lifestyle, you're gonna tell them your history. They're gonna be able to know from like the type of skin you have. It all makes a difference. So when people ask me, oh, how does the sagging or the stretching end up, I can't tell you. We're all different. We are all different. We're all gonna have different results. I did want to make another point on how I've felt after I've taken them out, which some people ask me about that, if there's any difference in my health. The biggest thing I feel like I felt is a lot of the skin problems I had while I had them in, they've not necessarily all completely cleared up, I'll be honest, but they are less intense. Like my eczema that I get for my time of the month was so intense before. Now it's like I hardly get it, and if I do, it's super mild. And even like the way I break out around that time is not as horrible as it used to be. I also used to get like dry patches on my throat that I don't really get them anymore. And then I felt like I had this like constant inflammation in my throat, like loose skin type dry patch here that it's gone. That's the one thing I can honestly say, like, since I have gotten my implants taken out, that part of my neck is gone. Like the skin irritation and just like it's like it tightened up there. So I don't know. That's the one set of things I can tell people is like, yeah, I feel like skin wise, which I was having a lot of skin problems. I feel like skin wise, my skin has definitely gotten a little bit better. I'm not gonna sit here and say that getting your implants removed is gonna be the solve all for any bodily issues you're having. For some people, they have symptoms of BII and then they take the implants out and they never got sick again. Because some people do suffer from, or perhaps suffer from BII. I can't personally speak on that. I don't know or don't think I was necessarily suffering from that. I really did take mine out for cosmetic purposes and that I just did not want them anymore. But I will say from taking them out, I do feel better physically. Another big change I've noticed after taking them out was I did notice an improvement in breathing, which I hear most women say. That is one thing. Another thing I can say has improved is like breathing. And I like to like sing sometimes and play around, and I felt like it was so hard to like breathe and sing, and now it's like I have no problem. And it's the same. I run a lot too. I run like at least 3 times a week. And when I had the implants in, I felt like I was wheezing and having the most trouble keeping up and running. Ever since I've had them removed and got back to running, I'm not wheezing or having problems breathing anymore. I'm also doing my miles in less time. Not to mention just the discomfort while running with those was just terrible. It was just not comfortable. So there definitely has been, in my opinion, some health improvements that I'm just like, oh, I would never, me personally, never put them back in. But I'm not mad at anyone who does, who feels like, oh, there's nothing wrong, I'm gonna put them back in. Like for me personally, I have no desire to have them back in. I felt like they were just not beneficial to me. The next point I'm gonna make is in regards to your support and who you have in support of your decision, because that's going to be a big determining factor of you making this decision. And my best advice is to make sure you surround yourself with people who love you for you and who just love you in general and don't care what you do as long as it's something that's good for you. At the time that I was considering getting them removed, I had one side of the fence that was like, yeah, like anything you want, like do what you gotta do. And then another side that was telling me I was crazy for getting it done. Getting them removed, didn't need them removed, all that. And it was a very push and pull situation within myself, because I was hearing one side be like, but you're gonna hate them, this and that. And the other side was like, you're gonna love them, you're gonna be fine, like you'll probably be so much healthier now. At the end of the day, do what you want for yourself, but it does help to have a supportive team that's going to push you in whatever is the correct direction for you. And I went with my gut and my heart, and the side of the fence that was in support of my explant, those people are still in my life. That person's still in my life. People are still in my life. The people that love you are not going to be upset that you are doing things for your body to benefit your health, or just because you want to benefit your self-esteem, which for me it was a little bit of both. I just wanted to feel more healthy, and I wanted to feel more confident in my natural body. Anyone that's going to sit there and convince you to keep something in your body that you're saying you don't want anymore and you're not comfortable with anymore because of cosmetic appearance and appeal, that's not your homie, that's not your family member, that's not your friend. Like, that's not good support to have, because it's not like you're taking something out that your body needs. It's not like you're going to the doctor and you're having a surgery to remove your heart. You're having something that removed, that was put into your body that wasn't supposed to be there. That, to me, I will support that all day long. I'm not gonna argue against that. I usually am an advocate for young women to not really get these things done until their frontal lobe is closed, to be honest. Because I got mine done when I was really young, and I wish I didn't. I wish I had a big sister to tell me, like, you don't need that. Oh, you should wait until you're like really sure that you want them. If I was a little bit older when I got them done, I would have definitely sat there and been like, I don't want these. I don't want these in me. I would have never gotten the surgery. And now, like, these are the other things to talk about. Like, the damage that you've done to your body putting them in, even though I've taken them out, the damage can't be undone in a way, you know? Like, there's always gonna be some stretched skin. There's always gonna be crazy. Now I have scarring, which a lot of other people who have talked about this have mentioned that that's something that, like, they are stuck with forever. You have scarring for a surgery that you did not need. And I've always had those scars in the same spot, but that is, I scarred myself to put something aesthetically pleasing in my body, or what was considered aesthetically pleasing at the time. I don't know. Something just doesn't sit right with me about that. But again, I don't judge anyone who does it. If I were to have a daughter and she was telling me she wanted to get those things done, I'd really talk to her and be like, you don't, honey, you don't need it. You don't need it. I'm not gonna speak on people who do need it. There are people who gotten them done that they had a mastectomy, and that made them feel more comfortable in their own body getting them done. And I feel like implants are should be reserved for people like that. Not a 19-year-old who's just insecure. I'm gonna be honest. That was just me being insecure. That I did not need to be putting that into my body. So it's good to have a group of supportive people around you at all times if you can. Or if you don't have supportive people in your life, or any people in your life, you gotta be the supportive people, which I was for myself for the longest. And you just gotta, try and make corrective decisions. I'll be one of your supportive people. Really rethink the things that you guys are doing to your body before you do them. Really, like, sit with yourself and list the pros and cons, list the reasons, think about it for a while. Before I even took these out, I was thinking about it for 2 years. Prior, like, prior, when I got the implants put in, I thought about it for like a few months, and I didn't think about it too long. And that's why I made that decision. And now look at me, years later, deciding I don't want it anymore. So really think about these things. And that's with all cosmetic procedures, Botox, lip filler, implants, BBLs, whatever. Think about it, write the pros and cons down, write how it would change your life if you get it done and how your life won't change at all. Whatever you need to write to really dissect the decision that you're making. I live in Florida, so I live in a state where it's very popular to just decide one day, hey, I'm getting this done. I'm gonna go to the doctor's office tomorrow and I'm gonna get it done. It's very fast paced with the plastic surgery here. But I still think people should be sitting down and thinking about stuff before they're doing them, because there's a lot of regret going on right now with a lot of different cosmetic procedures where certain people wish they didn't get certain things done. And I'm a part of that group. So it's becoming a little more now a trend to hear people say they no longer want their implants and they want to reverse their BBL, or they need to drain their lip filler, or whatever you do, dissolve it. it's because we need to be thinking about these things more. They shouldn't just be things that we just get up overnight and decide, I saw this on Instagram or TikTok, I'm gonna go ahead to the doctor's office and mimic that. These are big deals. Big deals. That being said, I did enjoy the time I had with them for a little bit. They were cool, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't, it's been a while that I've not been too fond of them, but the first few years I had them, I really did, enjoy wearing them around, I guess, if that's how you want to state it, is like, they're whatever. But I don't care about that attention anymore that comes with them. They were not making my life I don't feel like they were making my life any better or different. It did not make a difference. I feel like if we're talking about attention, I feel like I get the better type of attention now than I guess when I had those in, like the right type of attention. I feel more wholesome. I feel more liked for me, So, I mean, I'm not gonna knock implants and say they're terrible, but after a while, you just get to a point where you're just like, why do I have these? And they are uncomfortable. So, I took them out. But I will continue to say, if you guys are going to decide to get certain things done, whether it's an implants, explant, BBL, whatever, please just do your research and make sure it's something you really want to do and you're not being coerced. You're not having, low self-esteem. I always say that people should at least even visit a therapist or get a therapist's approval or opinion on that decision being made, because they can kind of gauge how and why you're making that decision. And my therapist did the same thing for me. She kind of was gauging when you're getting them taken out, when I was getting them taken out, she's like, well, from what you're telling me, you're not getting them taken out for any wrong reason, so I don't see what the problem is here. It's the same with getting them put in. Why are you wanting them in? These are things that need to be discussed with a professional, because calling up a doctor to just put anything in you because you're feeling or having a bad day is a little suspect, hon. It's a little suspect, and we've all been there. So, with that being said, thank you for listening to my experience. If there are any more questions anyone has and they'd like me to answer, you can go ahead and put them in the comments below, and I can possibly make a part 2 if I must. But I think I covered just about everything I can so far as a base of my explant process and how it's gone thus far. And I'll keep posting updates as the months go by on my experience, in a way, the appearance, how they're, healing up and looking, etc., etc. But thank you for listening, and thank you for having me for the first time on YouTube. Bye.